Picture this, a millennial sometime in the late 90s. The room is dark, lit only by the flickering glow of a CRT television. Their eyes are glued to the screen, fiercely mashing buttons on a wired controller, trying to save a princess or conquer a final boss. The experience is contained entirely within that room. Now fast forward to today. A Gen Z player may be on a bus, seamlessly swiping on a smartphone, diving into a graphically rich, massive online world. Or maybe they're at home fully immersed in a virtual reality headset, their body moving in sync with their avatar. Or perhaps they're not even playing, but watching their favorite streamer compete for millions of dollars on a global stage. Two generations, two completely different worlds of play. The technology has changed, the rules have changed, and the players have changed. So how did we get from the console in the corner to the game in the cloud? How has the very soul of gaming transformed through their eyes? If you ever had to blow into a game cartridge to make it work, hit that like button. If your gaming library lives entirely in the cloud, you have to subscribe. Let's level up through history. Devices and access from the living room altar to the pocket-sized portal. For a millennial, the video game console was the high-tech centerpiece of the living room. It was an altar. Consoles like the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Sega Genesis, or the revolutionary Sony PlayStation were significant, expensive investments. Gaming wasn't an ambient activity, it was an event. It was scheduled often as a reward and required access to the one sacred television in the house. The games themselves were physical artifacts. The ritual of saving up allowance for weeks to buy a new game, the joy of unboxing it, the smell of the plastic case, the weight of the cartridge, and poring over the paper manual, these were all part of the experience. This model, built on high-cost hardware and premium software, defined an era. The PlayStation 2, for example, became the best-selling console of all time, moving over 160 million units, cementing the console's place at the heart of home entertainment. For Gen Z, that entire paradigm has been inverted. The altar has been shattered into a million pieces, and the portal to countless worlds now lives in their pocket. The smartphone is the default gaming device. This isn't a minor shift, it's a seismic one. According to industry reports from firms like Newzoo, mobile gaming now accounts for nearly half of the global games market, generating an estimated $92.6 billion in 2024, a figure that dwarfs the console market's roughly $52 billion. This was made possible by the free-to-play revolution. The high cost of entry that defined the millennial era has been demolished. Now anyone with a smartphone can access thousands of games for free instantly. The economic relationship has shifted from a large one-time purchase to a continuous model of smaller in-app purchases driven by sophisticated psychological principles designed to encourage spending on everything from cosmetic skins to gameplay advantages. The technological drivers behind this are clear: the miniaturization of powerful processors, the ubiquity of high-speed internet, and the dawn of cloud computing. This trend reaches its ultimate conclusion with cloud gaming. Services like Xbox Cloud Gaming and NVIDIA GeForce now represent the final abstraction, the complete separation of play from dedicated local hardware. The cloud gaming market is projected to grow from around $15 billion in 2025 to over $121 billion by 2032, a staggering compound annual growth rate of nearly 34%. Propelled by the rollout of 5G, which promises to crush latency issues, the dream of playing a graphically intensive title on any screen anywhere is becoming a reality. This brings us to a fascinating dynamic. While mobile and free-to-play models have democratized access to gaming on an unprecedented scale, the revenue model has paradoxically concentrated spending. The business isn't built on everyone paying a little. It's built on a small fraction of high-spending players, or whales, contributing the vast majority of the revenue. The relationship with the game has also fundamentally changed. Millennials collected physical games as a form of identity, a library of owned trophies. Gen Z's experience is increasingly defined by access to vast rotating libraries like Xbox Game Pass, a Netflix for games. The motivation shifts from owning a collection to experiencing a constant stream of content, lowering the commitment to any single game, but broadening the exposure to many. Gameplay and social interaction from couch co-op to global esports arenas. If you ask a millennial about their most cherished gaming memories, they'll likely tell you a story about a sleepover. 4 friends huddled around a buzzing CRT TV controllers, tangled pizza boxes scattered. This was the sacred ritual of couch co-op. It was a physical, synchronous event. playing Mario Kart 64 GoldenEye 007 or Halo Combat. Evolved in split screen wasn't just about the game, it was about the shared physical space. The shouts, the laughter, the arguments over screen looking this was the social fabric of millennial gaming. The very design of consoles with 2 and later 4 controller ports was a testament to this philosophy of local in-person play. For Gen Z, multiplayer, by default, means online. The couch has been replaced by a Discord server, and their teammates aren't just next to them. They're in different cities, countries, or even continents. This shift was pioneered by services like Xbox Live, which launched in 2002, and revolutionized console gaming by standardizing features we now take for granted, like a unified friends list and integrated voice chat. Today, Gen Z players coordinate complex strategies in Valorant or build entire worlds together in Roblox with friends and strangers alike. For this generation, gaming is a primary social platform. Gen Z is 33% more likely than the average gamer to play specifically for social interaction. This global connectivity has also birthed a new phenomenon, esports. What was once a niche hobby has exploded into a mainstream cultural and economic force. Global esports viewership is projected to reach over 640 million people by 2025, with top tournaments like the League of Legends World Championship pulling in peak audiences of nearly 7 million viewers, more than many traditional sporting events. This has transformed gaming from a purely participatory activity into a massive spectator sport, complete with professional athletes, multi-million-dollar prize pools, and dedicated fans. This evolution reveals a fundamental change in what playing together means. The high-context physical intimacy of couch co-op has been traded for the immense scale and accessibility of global networks. This mirrors a broader societal shift where digital-first interactions are the norm. For many in Gen Z, a Discord server is their generation's mall or neighborhood park, a primary third place for social gathering. Furthermore, the rise of spectatorship has created an entirely new way to be a part of gaming culture. The fan who engages not by playing, but by watching following teams and participating in the surrounding media ecosystem is now a crucial part of the industry's economic model, which increasingly mirrors traditional sports with media rights and sponsorships. We've seen the legendary battles 8-bit versus 4K couch co-op versus global esports. But what's your ultimate gaming memory? Drop your favorite childhood game and your current obsession in the comments. Let's see which generation takes the lead. Graphics and immersion from pixelated charm to photorealistic worlds. For millennials who grew up in the 8-bit and 16-bit eras, graphics were an exercise in abstraction. A handful of pixels had to convey character, emotion, and action. The magic of Super Mario Bros. Or The Legend of Zelda wasn't just in their mechanics, but in the way our imaginations were required to fill in the gaps to build a world around the charmingly simple sprites. The leap to 3D with the Nintendo 64 and PlayStation felt like a monumental shift, a step toward a new kind of immersion, even if the characters were made of blocky polygons. This entire era was defined by incredible creativity born from limitation. It's a fact that the entire game file for Super Mario Bros. 3 was less than 1 megabyte smaller than a single high-resolution texture in a modern title. For Gen Z, that sense of wonder has been replaced by a baseline expectation of realism. Photorealistic graphics, 4K resolution, and advanced rendering techniques like ray tracing are not aspirational features. They are the standard for AAA games. When a Gen Z player sees a pixelated character, their first thought might not be nostalgic, but why are the graphics broken? The new frontier of immersion for this generation is virtual and augmented reality, which they see as a natural extension of play, a way to achieve total sensory submission to the game world. This insatiable demand for fidelity is directly reflected in the data footprint of games. The average PC game installation size has exploded from just 11 GB in 2012 to a staggering 80 GB in 2023. Titles like Call of Duty can now demand over 200 GB of storage space when all of their content is installed. This exponential growth is driven by the need for massive files, 4K textures, complex 3D models, and extensive uncompressed audio for dozens of languages. This is only possible because of the plummeting cost of storage. A 1 terabyte hard drive that cost $400 in 2007 can be bought for under $50 today. This aesthetic evolution has inverted the relationship between graphics and gameplay. In the Millennial era, gameplay was king, and graphics served the mechanics. Today, in the AAA space, the immense cost and labor required to create photorealistic open worlds often means that game design and budget are dictated by the pursuit of graphical fidelity. This can sometimes lead to games that are visually breathtaking but mechanically familiar. It also explains the vibrant counterculture of indie games, which often use retro aesthetics to free up resources for innovative gameplay appealing to a desire for mechanics over raw visual power. The very definition of immersion has split. Millennial immersion was often imaginative, a cognitive act of co-creating the world with the game. Gen Z immersion is increasingly sensory, an act of submitting to a world so visually convincing it feels real. Social perception and identity, from kids' play to respected profession. In the 1980s and 90s, the gamer identity was a liability. It was a label often associated with negative stereotypes: the socially awkward nerd, the lazy basement dweller. Gaming was widely perceived as a childish, unproductive hobby, primarily for boys. Parents worried about the hours their kids were wasting in front of a screen, and media-fueled moral panics over the violence in games like Mortal Kombat and Doom only reinforced the stigma. To be a gamer was to be part of a subculture often misunderstood and looked down upon by the mainstream. For Gen Z, that stigma has all but vanished. The gamer identity has been legitimized, mainstreamed, and even professionalized. Today's most popular gamers are not hidden away. They are cultural icons, entrepreneurs, and influencers with massive followings on platforms like Twitch and YouTube. The explosion of the esports ecosystem has created a formal career structure that mirrors traditional sports, complete with salaried professional players, coaches, analysts, and commentators. But perhaps the most powerful indicator of this cultural shift is the embrace of gaming by formal institutions. As of 2025, there are over 300 universities and colleges across North America offering esports scholarships, with some awards reaching tens of thousands of dollars per year. A parent grounding their millennial child for playing too much Halo has been replaced by a parent proudly sharing their Gen Z child's esports scholarship acceptance letter. However, this mainstream acceptance has created a new paradox. As the act of playing games has become nearly universal, with a 2024 ESA report showing 61% of the US population plays weekly, the number of people who self-identify as a gamer has shrunk. A 2025 study noted that while over half the population plays, only 23% adopt the label. This is largely due to the rise of mobile gaming. The person playing Wordle on their commute or Candy Crush Saga on the couch, they don't typically see themselves as part of the gamer culture they associate with consoles and PCs. The term is being respecialized. It's becoming a marker not just of participation, but of commitment, skill, and passion, an identity actively embraced by the competitive and deeply engaged players of Gen Z, for whom a career in gaming is a real and attainable dream. Community and culture, from forums and magazines to Discord and Twitch chat. For a millennial gamer in a pre-internet world, the flow of information was slow, centralized, and carefully curated. The Undisputed Bible was the monthly print magazine, most iconically Nintendo Power. It was the primary authoritative source for news reviews, and most importantly, the secret maps and strategies needed to conquer notoriously difficult NES games. When the internet arrived, the first digital communities formed on asynchronous message boards and forums like GameFAQs. These were revolutionary, allowing players to share knowledge and build walkthroughs together, but the pace was still measured. A discovery could take days or weeks to spread. For Gen Z, that entire infrastructure has been replaced by a global real-time hive mind. The community clubhouse is no longer a forum. It's a Discord server. This platform, which blends text chat, voice conferencing, and community management tools, has become the essential hub for gamers. It allows for the creation of persistent, highly specialized communities that are instant, interactive, and entirely user-driven. The game manual is no longer a magazine or a text file. It's a live Twitch stream. Players don't read how to beat a boss. They watch their favorite creator do it, live, ask questions in the chat, and see strategies refined in real time. This has fundamentally changed how game knowledge is acquired and disseminated. This shift from a slow curated information drip to a torrential crowdsourced flood has had a profound effect on gaming itself. The pace of meta, the speed at which the most effective tactics to win are discovered and adopted, has accelerated exponentially. A new strategy can be discovered by a streamer in the morning, clipped and shared on social media by noon, and become the dominant way to play by evening. This puts immense pressure on developers, shifting their role from creating a finished product to managing a continuous live service, constantly patching and balancing their game to keep up with a player base that solves problems at lightning speed. Community has also become a core part of the business model. In the free-to-play era, social investment is key to player retention. A player is far less likely to quit a game if their friends are on the Discord server, binding them to the ecosystem where they are more likely to spend money. Conclusion: the timeless drive to play. From the Millennials' dedicated console to Gen Z's omnipresent cloud, the evolution of gaming is a story of 5 key transformations: a shift in access from ownership to subscription in social play, from the local couch to the global arena in aesthetics, from abstraction to hyperrealism, in identity, from a stigmatized hobby to a professional career, and in community, from slow-moving forums to real-time digital hives. Yet for all that has changed in the how, where, and with whom we play, the fundamental why remains a powerful constant. The thrill of overcoming a challenge, the joy of discovery, the escape into another world, and the deep satisfaction of connecting with others are timeless human desires. Whether it's the triumph of saving a pixelated princess or the adrenaline of coordinating a complex raid in a photorealistic world, the spirit of gaming is a language understood across generations. The game is always evolving, with generative AI promising infinitely dynamic worlds, and the lines between gaming and other media continuing to blur. The next chapter is already being written. But one thing is certain: gaming is no longer just entertainment. It is a culture, a community, and a powerful mirror of our shared human creativity. From the arcade to the cloud, the game is always on and everyone's invited to play. If this journey through gaming history leveled you up, hit like and subscribe, and tag a friend who still argues about which console was better or who just discovered retro gaming. Because no matter how we play in the world of GENSHIFT, game on.